Our readings this week are pretty brief, but they are pretty important also. That the first reading tells us about Paul and Barnabas going out and taking the gospel to the Gentile nations, that the Jewish people, having pretty much rejected Christ and the gospel that Christ tried to teach, that he was rejected. And so, because of that Paul and Barnabas go out to the Gentiles. Now, the Jewish people believed they were the chosen ones, the chosen people of God. And so we're angry about the fact that Paul and Barnabas were going out and preaching the same thing to the Gentiles. And when they point it out, it only makes the Jewish people more angry. But that in the second reading shows from Revelation that all nations are together with God in heaven, that this is the kind of result that we can expect, that all different types of people would be together. And so that this is kind of that end result, I suppose, of that preaching to the Gentile nations. But Jesus in the gospel tells us that his flock of sheep knows him. That when we think of the 23rd Psalm, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures and gives me repose. That he protects me, his rod and his staff give me comfort. And this is part of what Jesus is trying to get across, because most of his audience, of course, would have been shepherds familiar with that shepherding lifestyle. And so the image of a good shepherd, Jesus, the good shepherd in particular, that with the rod and the staff, that these give comfort, the staff to protect his flock from prey, from the enemy, and also the rod that is used with like a pick on one side and a club on the other, that the rod is also used to protect against enemies, but that also every night the shepherd would go through the coat of the sheep, each one individually, and pick out all of the burrs and things that the sheep would collect over the course of the day. And so that would give the sheep comfort. And he would hum a tune to each sheep differently, so that if one of the sheep would get lost, all he would have to do would be whistle their particular tune to call them back. And this is the image of the sheep knowing the shepherd's voice, because he would do this every night to take care of the sheep, that the sheep would feel comforted and the sheep would feel safe and protected. And so that whenever the sheep would then kind of go astray, as sheep would tend to do, that they would be called back by that particular tune. And our comfort as being God's sheep, each one of us is numbered, loved by God, each individually, so that all of us as a whole are loved by God. But God's particular attention is on each one of us, that God, being infinite love, can focus that type of attention to each one of us, to know us inside and out, to know each one of his sheep, exactly who we are, so that if we do get caught going astray, if we do wander off the path a little bit, that God can call us back. God can call us by name and bring us back to himself. That we do get a bit lost and willful at times, that we wander off the path that the shepherd is trying to show us. But that we can also rely on God, that we rely on God for that comfort, for knowing that we do belong to him. We are his, and he is ours, so that he leads us in those right paths, so that we know that we are cared for. God cares about each and every one of us, loves us each individually, and so that we are members of his flock. Some people would have us believe that sheep aren't a good thing, but rather we are in God's fold. We are members of God's flock, that when we do wander off, when we do go into the sinfulness, that we just come back to God. We come back to God and apologize, and we're right back in the flock like nothing has happened. And so that we should cherish that role of God as our good shepherd, as the one who protects us, to sees to our needs, who comforts us, and gives us those things that we need. We rely on Jesus, the Good Shepherd, every time we celebrate the Eucharist, that he has given himself up for the forgiveness of sins, that we have God in our lives. We know God better and have a relationship with him. And so let us cherish the fact that all types of people are welcome with God. It doesn't matter those things that we do, our kind of annoying habits, our quirks, the color of our skin, any of those things. Everyone, each and every one of us, everyone is all welcome with God. And so that we are in the same fold, united by our relationship with God as his sheep, as members of his flock, that we go the same way in honor of him. And let us continue to love, to know him, to honor him, and to praise him for everything he does for us, as his sheep, as members of his flock. And we will be in good standing when that time comes for us to depart this world, but that we also will know that we do so and cannot be taken from his hand, that we do follow Christ and are so never taken from him until we go ourselves. But this is what we are as his people, as members of his family.